It's the Mazda, the CX-30.
We're back in the CX-30.
We are.
With exactly what we asked for when we drove the CX-30 the first time. We said, we really like this. It needs your Mazda turbo.
We wanted the turbo.
You're watching Everyday Driver. We make a TV show, podcast,
and YouTube channels dedicated to great cars, driving adventures, and helping you find a car you'll love.
subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing.
Every time I get in Mazdas now, I get this fuzzy, warm feeling, especially when trucks pull out almost in front of you.
Yeah, well, there's that as well. But you got the turbo to get around it.
But
so
I do have the turbo.
Yeah, it's all good.
No, seriously, I get this feeling like I'm going to like the car just instantly because of every single Mazda we get in. We're just thinking, well, what they've done for the price and for how it drives,
yeah.
What a great car. I was looking at the prior photos of the CX-30 non-turbo that we drove.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the ride height because I think this rides just a little bit more stink bug than the other one, just a little bit higher in the back.
Well, but you thought it was a little stink bug in the last one. You thought that was one of the things you talked about, was that the fact it felt like it was a stink bug, and I agree with you.
Just a little bit more on this one even, but that's okay. I keep coming back to the CX-30. I keep wondering, why 30? You probably know by now, and that is Mazda sells a CX-4 in China, and they didn't want to sell another model called CX-4 to slot between the 3 and the 5.
Yeah, we've heard that,
So
and it's still
30.
The number between 3 and 5 is not 30. I don't care if you have a 4 in another market.
Gotten away with
that
it.
is a stupid thing. Well, but I'll give you another example. For years, Ford sold a Fiesta in Europe and a Fiesta in the US, and they were different Fiestas. There is nothing to say that Mazda couldn't sell a CX-4, because guess what? That's the number between 3 and 5 in the US and in China, having to be different cars.
I keep going, why isn't there the CX-50?
I
And
agree.
The CX-90?
Yes.
Why the...
Yes, agreed.
Everybody would have been fine with it.
It's a truly stupid naming convention. I don't care what the excuse is. It's a stupid naming convention
Mazda's the
for
only
a
one.
very solid car.
Yes. Well, the difference here between the Mazda 3 Turbo and the CX-30 Turbo is really one thing that I can find, and that is off-road traction assist. This is designed to be direct Subaru Crosstrek comparison.
It is, yeah.
It's more money than the Crosstrek.
Yes.
It has the same 2.5, not the same, but a same displacement engine, 2.5 liter engine. This one just has the turbo, and it has 70 more horsepower when you use 93 octane. 70 more horsepower and 10 more pound-feet of torque.
It's that same exact turbo engine that Mazda is working their way through everything in their lineup. It came out in the CX-9, the big boy 7-seater.
The CX-90?
The CX-90. It started in the CX-90, yeah. I'm just going to go with that. It started there with the big 7-seater, but it's worked its way down in the market. And what's funny is, if I think about that engine, we got in everything below the CX-9, CX-90,
CX-90,
with the standard engine in it, with the 184 horsepower non-turbo engine. And everything we got in, we said, this needs the turbo. Yeah. And they have slowly walked down through their whole lineup, adding the turbo. And the hysterical thing with the CX-5 and the Mazda 30, the Mazda 3, and the CX-30, the hysterical thing about all of those is, the minute they added the turbo, it got even better. The same engine in everything in the lineup. It's the Volvo idea.
Yes.
Now with more power. Same engine, more power.
Look, you're going to complain because you're spending more money now. But if any car that I could justify the price upgrade, it is this one. Because of that turbo power, makes everything about it more enjoyable. Even though I feel like the steering feel is far more dead on this car, just by virtue of the taller ride height and a little bit softer suspension from what I can detect, it's the materials. It's the perception that you're driving a more expensive car.
Yes.
And then you look at the price and you think, I only paid about $5,000 more, $4 or $5,000 more than the Subaru, and I got all of this. Yeah.
Like here in the CX-30, the base model we really enjoyed with the 184 horsepower engine, but once you bump it up to this 250 and all that torque in the turbo, this is the one you want. It just makes a already versatile platform a even better, this can do everything.
Yeah.
And it also makes it easier to drive in all situations, because you're not in a situation where you just think, I need a little more power, that's a big truck. There's none of that. All of that honestly happened in the base Crosstrek and in this CX-30. That concern, if you will, is gone. You can dart where you need to be.
Yeah, definitely. There's more body roll in this one, in the CX-30. We love the Mazda 3 Turbo. It surprised both of us how good it was, how you can put that power down, how that rear diff just pushed you right around the corner and made the car rotate.
The Mazda 3 Turbo
was
is excellent.
Wonderful.
It's one of my very favorites in the category for sure.
This one is backed off in terms of handling feel, inputs, and the body roll. And so because of all those things, you're going to back off. You're not going to be able to do the corners as fast as you can in the Mazda 3.
I don't even think that the rear half of the car engages it as well as it does in the Mazda 3 Turbo, which is all-wheel drive with a very active rear half of the car.
But what's good about that is, if it did, the two models would be too similar, I think.
I see that.
So by actually doing that and giving you this little bit of light off-roading capability, very light, it does differentiate it more. So if canoeing and beanies and off-roading and coolers full of steaks and
if you really wanted to buy a Crosstrek but everybody already had one, so you bought this instead, got it. Okay.
Yes, then that does differentiate this. And the off-road traction assist is kind of cool. It's a very simple, clean way of distributing torque. So imagine you're going up a hill and the wheels detect a little bit of wheel spin or an unloaded wheel.
Sure they will. At Starbucks, all the time that happens.
It does.
The McDonald's drive-thru yesterday, it was a terrible traction disaster. Yeah.
It was raining.
I'm telling you, it was awful. Yeah.
Well, in that case, the center diff will lock up and then throw torque to the wheels that get the grip.
To get you properly through the drive-thru.
Through the drive-thru at
Look
Starbucks.
out, yes.
All right, just turning around, doing all kinds of illegal things. Don't look at me, I'm just doing donuts in the intersection. Oh my God! We got to take a moment to discuss this interior.
Yes.
And like I said, every time I get in a Mazda, I'm just sort of rubbing my hands together in glee going, I just know I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to sit here. Look at the materials. Look at what they've done for $35,400, and I'll bet you can find them less money than this, brand new.
For sure, absolutely.
Look at what you're getting. It's like a minimalist thinking. Minimalist interior with really good-looking materials that all feel really good, but they feel robust. They don't feel delicate, like the armrest is going to tear after just a few thousand miles, or the steering wheel is going to get dirty, or you know what I mean? It just feels like minimalist thinking. This is nice.
I kind of hear your minimalist, but I also want to say, in contrast, I think it's not stark. And one of the issues we've had with minimalist interiors, like on Tesla products, is they're minimalist, but they're actually minimalist to the point of being stark. This is minimalist because it's been made to a price. But what's interesting is the subtlety, for example, of this slightly different color on these uppers here. It's amazing how much that warms the cabin. It's weird to say because it's a very subtle shift, but these little things actually warm the cabin, and they've got a lot of similarities through the rest of their product line with the single chrome here underneath the HVAC system.
Yeah, the bright work.
All of that stuff is very similar. So you can see this is the same basic interior of all of the Mazdas of roughly $30,000, but it's a good interior.
Absolutely. Well, look at this, as you said, this bright strip. It's just at a certain eye level. So it's like this hierarchy of materials that have this nice, vertical, clean look to them that really works. It bisects the knobs over here, the HVAC knobs. Now, here's the part where I don't like it, and that is the space. Unfortunately,
Agreed.
It's horrible. When you put guys like us in this car, and we get comfortable and move the seats all the way back, we can't sit behind ourselves. There's no way.
It's not a 4-seater. It might be a 2+2. I mean, literally, it has like 2+2 thinking. I don't care that it's got 4 doors, 4 seats. This has an almost unusable back seat. And this is the big place where something like the Crosstrek wins, because the Crosstrek has a lot of rear space. And I'll give you another one. The Mazda 3 has decent rear space.
It does, weirdly. And this is kind of between the 3 and the 5.
I know.
It's supposed to be bigger.
I know. Well, yes, agreed. But the Mazda 3 is the one that is actually 4 doors, 4 seats. This looks like 4 doors, 4 seats. It's kind of a bait and switch because the back seats really aren't usable.
Yeah, for sure. Well, like I said, exterior styling, I think this sits just a little bit higher, a little bit of stink bug in the rear, but other than that, it looks a little bit more purposeful. To distinguish it more, I would have preferred Mazda put something a little bit knobbier. The problem is most people are not going to be doing the stakes to the campsite kind of driving with this. It'll be light beach activity or
at
something.
The most. Beach activity because we drove to the concrete parking lot at the beach that has sand in it.
Oops, I got some sand.
Exactly. That's the beach parking lot. Yeah.
So imagine this with a roof rack and a little bit knobbier tires, and then it's sort of like, ooh, it's
the luxury Crosstrek at that point. You're right. I see that. Okay.
You know, but you can't because most people are going to be doing commuting in this, and the ride is excellent. It's just if you want something that drives better and handles better, you've got to get the Mazda 3 Turbo. You can't go with this. But
agreed.
you've got to decide. And I do like that. I like that they're giving you some options here. What's your lifestyle? And you get the same across the board. So, handling, more off-road, sand, what do you want? You need to drive this.
I'm coming over there. This also does that Mazda thing where it automatically sets the parking brake. The number of times that I have turned it off and put it into reverse, and you talk about stink bug, just pulled it up against the parking brake. Well, I'm like, I didn't turn it off.
It should feel itself. It should feel the resistance and turn itself off. I agree.
Now, it's been programmed to do that going forward on a lot of these. In reverse, it doesn't like to do it. That's one of my random rants about these Mazdas. Whatever. It's really not that big a deal. It's just one of those things I rant about. Speaking of rants.
Oh, no.
I have a rant coming on.
Okay, good.
It's going to be one of those I'm yelling into the wind things because nobody cares. Nobody cares about what I'm going to say, but I do think I have a point.
I think I know.
Subaru sells a Crosstrek. They sell it a lot. It's very successful. They also sell an Impreza and nobody cares. Mazda sells the Mazda 3, which has traditionally been one of their best-selling vehicles, and we love the Mazda 3 hatchback turbo all-wheel drive. You can be an enthusiast or a person who just needs a commuter, and the Mazda 3 all-wheel drive turbo is phenomenal.
Yes.
Why does this exist? It is a slightly lifted, less usable Mazda 3. And I know because we're all buying CUVs, the same reason the Crosstrek outsells the Impreza. We like a little bit more ride height. Oh, I believe one day I'm going to go off-road. Look, this has a dirt shoulder. If I went over there, that's as much off-roading as this thing's ever going to see. Okay?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I have an answer, weak as it might be.
This annoys me so much that we are selling. This is a nice design with rubberized body cladding on it that makes it worse. It has a lift on it that makes it handle, guess what, worse. It still handles well.
Yeah,
it's
that
still
roll
surprising, but there's
great.
body roll,
Yeah.
there's body cladding that wrecks the styling, there's less space in the rear. I like this because Mazda's doing great vehicles across the board.
Okay.
But if I had this money, or anybody came to me with this money and said, I am considering the CX-30, no, buy the Mazda 3. Buy the Mazda 3.
I can tell you, I have your answer.
Good luck.
That is, Mazda would be leaving money on the table if they don't have a competing product. Doesn't matter what it is.
You're right.
If they don't have a competing product and the customer wants X, guess what the customer is going to do? They're going to buy X for whatever reason. This is the Crosstrek competitor.
Absolutely, and the Kia Seltos.
And the Seltos. This is the better one of all of those. This is the one to buy.
Well, here's the thing. This is why I'm yelling into the wind. Because I know that the reason they're making this is because the market segment that everyone's buying is the slightly lifted, I think it's an off-roader CUV, where you're basically just buying ride height. I know that's why they made this.
Actually a product planning exercise. If they didn't have one to sell, all their customers are walking to the other showroom.
They'd be going to get a Kia Seltos or a Crosstrek, both of which we like, by the way.
Yes.
The thing that continues to annoy me is the fact that we've got SUV CUVs, which at their core are supposed to be more usable. More usable. That was the premise.
They're just squishier.
And all we have here is we have something that doesn't ride as well, doesn't handle as well, and has less space than something in Mazda's own lineup.
Yes.
And I like the Mazda 3 Turbo so much.
It's excellent.
That I can't justify this except for your point.
But imagine if they didn't have this in their lineup.
You're right.
And their dealers would be saying, guys, we're losing business because you don't have this model.
You're right.
They will hear about it.
Let me put it this way. This is the usability that the CX-3 should have. Because the CX-3 is smaller. No, the CX-3 is smaller than this.
It's
the
slightly.
CX-3. So it has even less rear seat room and even less hatchback space. So this is the I need seats occasionally version.
Yeah.
But then if you really need back seats, you have to go CX-5, which we like the CX-5. And with turbo, it's excellent. But if you really want 4 doors, 4 seats, you can't get this model. You have to go CX-5. So now you've gone up
4 real seats,
in price. We love the CX-5. It's
amazing.
We're big fans. It comes with this exact same turbo engine, which is not a surprise.
It does.
If you want something roughly this size, you should be buying the Mazda 3. This is a phenomenal execution of a slightly sporty feeling, slightly SUV feel. This is like the grand middle child without the middle number. It's the 30, not the 4.
Like chopping up the vegetables,
It's
dicing it very thinly.
Seriously.
Here's all of our offerings.
It's like one chef went through and chopped it and handed it to the next chef and said, do it again. We got to go one more time.
Dicing it up.
So I'm ranting more against what's happening in the market than I am against this car, but this is such a representative thing of what's happening in the market. I think comparing it directly to the two competitors I can think of, the Crosstrek and the Seltos, this feels much more luxurious than both of those.
Yes.
Hey, you might want to grab that.
I'll grab that. The camera fell
We're
off.
going to want to take that with us.
We salvaged
That's
it.
going to need to be ours. Okay, well, that's done. Apparently, I was driving too hard for the camera. Moving on. All right.
Wait.
You need a mic, dude.
I need a mic. I'm gonna turn this off.
All righty. Got to go to Sporty Goodness. I'm in Sporty Goodness.
Sporty
I gotta
Goodness.
shift myself. Quick interlude on the acceleration.
Quick interlude.
You do have paddles. You have Mazda's 6-speed, which some people talk about being old and out of date, but you know what? It works.
It really does.
Agree. And honestly, this Mazda 6-speed, which you've had in other vehicles as well, proves that you don't need 9, 10, 12 gears. This 6-speed is really well balanced for ratios, and the paddles, listen, it's not a sports car. It doesn't have fast paddles. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's surprisingly good, and it proves that 6 speeds can be enough. So I do love this powertrain. I like this very much. It feels much more luxurious than the Crosstrek and the Seltos. That's the reason you get it.
Speaking of luxury, the Premium Plus package is what this is equipped with. This is the fully loaded, everything you can buy. You're asking, what do you get? You get the cross traffic alert, you get the smart city braking alert, you do get the auto dimming headlights, you get the headlights that swivel when you're moving. But
that is cool.
The most interesting thing is, and I don't know really why you need this, it is traffic jam assist. When you're using the radar cruise control under 40 miles an hour, it nudges the steering to keep you in the lane while you're bored in traffic. Traffic jam assist. Why? Like, pay attention to your driving. I know everybody's falling asleep.
It's our limping toward autonomy. We have to give ourselves more ridiculous things to say.
So there are more things, but to be frank, this is the trim level you should get. Get it fully loaded, and I think what we're saying is, it's really great. In the marketplace, this is the best, but of all the Mazdas, it's not the one you want.
It's the Mazda 3 that you want.
Yes.
Absolutely.